Hello, welcome back. And today I am not doing an art vlog. Today is a sketchbook spread. I am doing the Toon Me challenge. It's basically where you take a photo of yourself, a selfie, and then you half it with a little squiggly, and then you normally digital art the other half of it. I decided to do it differently, and I printed out a selfie of myself and put it in my sketchbook, and I'm painting the other half. I wanted to do a comparison between my Winsor & Newton designer gouache and my Holbein gouache, so I'll be kind of doing a comparison, not a full-on review because I haven't used my Winsor & Newton gouaches enough so far. This is actually one of the first times I've used it. This is probably the second time I've used it, so it's definitely a little bit of a learning curve, being that it is half watercolor, but I'm still feeling like it's supposed to be acrylic gouache. But yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be talking about for this video. I just like to quickly address the lighting change. I don't know if it's because I was changing my lamp, which I do sometimes, but for some reason it kept on going between white and yellow. Please help me fix this if you know how to fix this. This only happens for this side of the artwork. The other one I do, an acrylic gouache, it doesn't turn yellow. So just let you know. Yeah, I felt really I want to first address, okay, does anyone else feel this way? Printing a photo of yourself or just drawing yourself, it just feels really odd to me. It's not so much the drawing myself thing, but it's the fact that I printed a photo of myself and I'm drawing the other half and it's a whole 2-page sketchbook spread. It just feels really weird to me. I normally don't paint myself. Like I normally paint myself like once or twice in a sketchbook, but having these pages back to back and having a selfie be a part of it makes me feel really odd. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you feel the same way or if you would feel the same way and I'm not alone in this. Now onto the review. For background information, I've had my Holbein acrylic gouaches, which I will be using to paint on the left side of this artwork, for about 2 years. Now that's a pretty long time. At first I actually didn't like them, but the more I used them, the more I was like, I kind of like you. I like how it's very easy to layer. I don't like how it blends because obviously once it hardens you can't move it, unlike watercolor gouache or just regular gouache in general. But yeah, that's a little background story of my experience. The Winsor & Newton ones I've only been using for about a week, and I've only used it twice. This is the second time, as I mentioned earlier, I think. But it's just a bigger learning curve because I'm not used to areas being reactivated when I use it. So it's very like, oh, it gets like patchier as I go. Not saying like it's a bad thing, like it's user error, obviously, because I'm used to just being able to layer everything on top. But I forget that for this type of gouache, you want to do it in sections, and as you can see, I'm layering on top of other colors, and it's just, no. I really shouldn't have done that. That was my fault, but I'm not used to painting in the other style, so I had to practice that. I do kind of enjoy how it's like the in-between of like the acrylic gouache and the watercolor, because whenever I paint watercolor, I find I really have to go a lot harder at it. I have to like layer even more because normally from watercolor you work from light to dark and it's transparent. So it really depends what mood I'm feeling in. Sometimes watercolor works for me some days, sometimes it just doesn't. But this is definitely more opaque, and I find I do use more because watercolor spreads in a further area. This one I squish a little bit out, and then like I'm using that whole thing, the whole bit I squished out in one like painting session. That's why I find personally watercolor is more cost effective because the pigment goes such a long way. Even though watercolor is like initially expensive, I haven't had to get any new watercolors in terms of like refills or like replacements for the past 4 years I've owned it. The acrylic gouache I've had for 2 years, and I already can see that I'm gonna have to replace it, and I didn't even use it for like a whole year basically. But if you're on a tight budget and you still want to try gouache, I've heard of this jelly gouache called the Maya Himi, I think, or I don't know. There's also an Artex one, and I've heard that it's not bad. So if you're on a tight budget, that might be a really good option. It also comes with 2 whites. So I kind of want to try it, but I'm also like, I just bought art supplies. I have to post my art supply haul soon. But anyways, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it yet. I might, but I also am focusing on my sticker shop, so we'll see. But there's something about like using these expensive gouaches in a sketchbook. I'm like, oh, I could be using this for so many better things, but here I am using it in a sketchbook. But I also love sketchbooks because it's in one place. It's not like a bunch of papers flying around. But back to the point of this video, I found that the Winsor & Newton gouache didn't require as many layers as watercolor because it's more opaque, but the acrylic gouache, it was so much easier to apply, which kind of makes sense because it's only like 2 minutes of the video compared to the other part, which is like much longer because it's a new medium I'm not used to. I will say though, if you're someone who, as I mentioned earlier, makes a lot of mistakes, the acrylic gouache might be better for you because a lot of opportunity to layer and to fix what you did without the layers underneath moving. But at the same time, if you're looking for a little more transparency, I definitely suggest the Winsor & Newton one more because of that. But if you don't really mind watering down your acrylic gouache, that works too. But I find acrylic gouache is harder to blend, so blending can become a challenge if you are someone who likes these perfect smooth blends, which I do. But I normally just mix all my colors first, and then I'll kind of like blend them as I go before the other layers dry. I will say it kind of reminds me of like Photoshop, where like you kind of do each layer by layer. So I start with the skin, then I do the hair, and then I do the details. It kind of reminds me of different layers in a file. So if you're digital, you might like that aspect of it. I do think that the acrylic consistency is a lot smoother in terms of how it applies. Like I can apply one layer and it looks very flat. So for illustrations, it's probably like really, really good. While the Winsor & Newton one is more of a watercolor style. So if you're looking to have more of a kind of building opacity, that's like perfect. But yeah, personally, I like both of them. I wouldn't say like, oh, like one's better than the other, but they're definitely for different things. I feel like one is more flat and one has more potential for dimension. But that's just honestly personal preference. So that's my kind of comparison. If you have any like specific questions, feel free to leave them down below. I don't really know what you guys want to know particularly about these products, but one more suggestion, don't feel the need to get all colors of the rainbow. You just need your primary colors and you can mix the rest, and that's basically the last bit of advice I can give you for that, to save money if you're looking for that. Now, I just want to talk about this artwork. I do like the left side better because it's more proportional to the picture. But the right side, if you like cover the picture on, the selfie picture, it looks fine. But because it's side by side and the eye is like too high, it looks a little bit off, but bear with me. I have never ever done this before. I did stick the photos in with double-sided tape. I got it from Michaels. It's a Canadian craft store, and it's a Tombow one. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll link it down below if you're interested. But yeah, it lasted me a while, and it held up pretty good against the water, and I'm actually really surprised that I didn't end up painting over the picture line. Anyways, the video is coming to an end, so I just want to say thank you for sticking around and hope you didn't mind my rambling. And let me know if you want to see any other content. Bye!